despite what you say about Tom Cruise and him getting older and he's he's an aging action star, I mean, he's still generating a lot of money with Mission Impossible, right?
Oh yeah, this is a good franchise. This has been his franchise for such a long time for his career, and he makes obviously other movies every other couple of years, but
right.
This is the one that really pays the bills, I think. So it's been, as you noted, over $2 billion in the box office. So this one should be interesting. It's gotten actually very good reviews, which not all of these Mission Impossible films have received good reviews. So it's good reviews. I think the studio hopes that it'll have a good opening weekend, and then decent word of mouth from the reviews will kind of propel it to have a longer run in the theaters.
How does it do overseas?
It does very well overseas. Tom still does very well overseas, probably stronger outside the U.S. than in the U.S. And we know that the global box office, when you think about the global box office, about 2/3 of it now is outside of North America. So it's really more important that a film does well internationally than it does domestically. So, and I think this is the type of film. It's an action film. It's a sequel to a long-running franchise that should play very well globally, I'm sure.
Especially in China.
Especially in China, and I'm sure Tom Cruise and Paramount are going to market this film aggressively in every big market around the world to try to offset what has been kind of a flattish U.S. box office over the last several years.
Now, how does he compare? Because he's actually very out there when it comes to promoting his films, right? I mean, he's doing interviews. He's on with Jimmy Fallon, lip syncing and all of this stuff, and he's much more promotional than his peers, right?
Right, and for the longest time, that was a huge asset to his films. Now that I think that his personal life, whether it's Scientology and other things, have kind of clouded his image for some people. The question is his personal marketing as strong as it used to be for a film? But I think he's a little bit old school in the sense that he believes, and I think the studios believe, that he does in fact have star power. He in fact can drive box office. Maybe some of the newer actors coming onto the scene over the last 10 years may rely perhaps a little bit more on social media, for example, to build a buzz. But I think he still feels, and his studio feels like, boy, if I can get him on Jimmy Fallon, if I can get him on the late night talk shows and so on, that's going to drive box office, at least domestically, at least for that first weekend, which can then maybe have good things down the road for the film.
I think it was for one of the Mission Impossible films that he got into it with Matt Lauer that time on Scientology, right?
Yeah.
And the use of medication, for mental illness, and that was really damaging to his brand. So now it seems like nobody's talking to him about Scientology. Why is that?
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably picking and choosing a little bit more selectively, and the studio is kind of where he goes, what shows he goes on, maybe put some ground rules out there. I'm not sure you're going to see him necessarily on a show that might, like a morning show that might feature a little bit more harder news. I think he might be limiting a little bit more towards some of the late night shows, more entertainment-oriented shows. Put him on a lot of covers of magazines, for example. So I think trying to be a little bit more selective, because again,
I'm told, we were in our production meeting. I mean, I'm told that Jon Stewart had him on and got criticized for not even asking him about Scientology.
Yeah,
bringing it up.
Yeah, it's it's obviously for Tom Cruise and for John Travolta to a lesser extent. It's been an issue for them and for their image and how they project themselves in Hollywood, and how well they can in fact kind of carry a film globally. It seems to be more of an issue here in the U.S. than it does outside of the U.S. And again, that's really where most of the money for some of these big films are being made these days.